Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it happens to be while you're watching it. I'm back with another one today. This is one I've been mulling over and over and over for a while, but I think it's time to do it. I'm hoping that it comes across right, and I'm hoping it inspires other. So, if you read the topic, you might be scratching your head. For a little bit of background, I was a never Trumper from the day that Trump had walked down the stairs and did his announcement that his candidacy, that he was running for president. I always thought of Trump as a typical blue dog elitist Democrat from New York. Always thought of him as a bloviating, braggadocious, New York elitist. Sorry for you people that live in New York City, but you guys don't have the best reputation on the planet. But anyway, I also always thought of him as a corrupt business guy. And I say that because I didn't really know much about obviously I knew who he was. I knew he was in real estate development and that kind of stuff. But I had seen the stuff he had done after 9/11 happened, when he was down at ground zero. His people were there helping, etc. But I didn't really know too much about the guy. I was what you would call. I've been a registered Republican, which I'm no longer. I'm a registered independent. But you can call me a rhino, Republican in name only. But I wasn't because I was a liberal in drag. It was I'm a constitutional conservative, and I border and delve into libertarian ideologies. I'm a hardcore constitutionalist. If it's not in the Constitution, you shouldn't be doing it, or we shouldn't be doing it, etc. But during the 2016 campaign, I was rooting for Ted Cruz and Rand Paul. Those are my two picks. And then Trump came into the picture as a Republican nominee, which blew my mind because I never knew him to be a Republican. I always knew him to be a Democrat. And then when he came into the Republican Party, I'm like, this guy's a liberal Republican at best. Rhino, under the traditional use of the word. It blew my mind that he came into the race as a Republican. And then during the campaign, during the primaries, I lost complete and utter respect for the guy. When he went after Ted Cruz the way he did, when he went after Ted Cruz's father and Ted Cruz's wife, I've been a huge Ted Cruz fan since he came into the Senate. And then he went after Rand Paul, huge Rand Paul fan. That's my libertarian leanings. He just went through there as a typical bloviating, braggadocious New Yorker. No respect for anybody, no cordiality, just straight brute, and couldn't stand him. I lost a couple friends, or some friends, because of that, because they, jumped on the Trump bandwagon soon or early. And then they got to the extreme ridiculousness of everything Trump. Trump can do no wrong. Trump is the best thing since peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, that kind of stuff. It just got sickening. And I'm like, I don't golden calf any candidate, mind you. Now, I'm a fan of Ted Cruz and Rand Paul, but each one of them has their issues I have issues with some of their stances and takes on certain things. But I just saw the complete golden calf on people. And, he was a godsend. Jesus sent him. He walks on water. All that stuff that happened when he first announced and ran and that kind of stuff. And I was like, I was a never Trumper. And like I said, I lost friends over it because you couldn't have a civil conversation with them. You couldn't show them what was wrong with Trump. Even a lot to this day, it's still hard to have a civil conversation with the hardcore Trump people when he does mess up. A prime example is everybody went after Obama as a gun grabber, right? Nothing was ever grabbed under Obama. However, under Trump, bump stocks were banned. So he does have his faults. However, and then certain things started happening. Keeping in mind, during the primaries, the whole DNC email hack came out. That's when Wasserman Schultz got relieved as the DNC chair because of her emails. It came out Donna Brazile had given the debate questions to Hillary and all of the stuff, right? There was the Podesta emails. They were all part of that. That was actually the predicate for the whole Russiagate thing. We'll get to that in a minute. So the DNC thing came out, and then I saw the complete and utter cover-up by the Democrats, the DNC, the media. They all buried it. They all shifted focus from the content of the emails, what was actually in the emails. Now, keep it in mind, nobody has ever disputed of the emails that have been released or in the public domain. Nobody has ever disputed the veracity and accuracy and truthfulness of those emails. The only thing that was really ever argued was how they made it into the public sphere. I hope you guys remember this stuff because it's now coming back. But anyway, I saw the abetting and all this stuff. And keeping in mind, the Benghazi trials had just recently ended. So you had Hillary getting off scot-free. So that was already fresh. And then her use of a private email server, which came about because of the Benghazi trial, that was we were still dealing with that. And then Jim Comey made his famous, October surprise about Hillary and all that shit, right? And then soon thereafter, Trump wins the candidacy and Russiagate hits. He's under investigation for colluding with Russia to influencing the election and all the other bullshit that's been proven to be lies. That whole conspiracy theory, and that's exactly what it was. So for you leftists that like to use that term disparagingly against right-leaning folks, you are the biggest victim, or you are the victim of the biggest conspiracy theory in our political history. It makes Watergate look like a bubble in time. This is massive. When looking at this from a perspective of what our government, our duly elected officials did with the power of the government to try to smear and ruin and turn the outcome of the election. Exactly what they accused Trump of, which was all a lie. So anyway, keeping in mind, Russiagate was predicated on the narrative was that someone in Russia had Hillary's emails, not just the DNC hacked emails, but the emails from her private server, and they were trying to pawn them off or give them off to the Trump campaign to use against Hillary during the runoffs. So anyway, I saw that happening, and then that got squashed, and then Mueller came in, and and I'm sitting there looking at this going, okay, I'm a never Trumper. I never did support Trump. He had, during this time, he was recently new into the presidency, so none of his real policies had been enacted yet. So I was against Trump. And then I started seeing what was happening with the whole Russiagate thing. The email, it started off with the email things and then the Russiagate thing. And then here comes fucking Mueller. Well, now when Mueller first started coming in, some of Trump's policies started taking effect. Your economy started picking up. Jobs started getting created. Unemployment started dropping and all that good stuff, right? So I'm looking at it going, okay, now I can't credit all that to Trump because realistically, our government can't create jobs. You can create federal positions, but that's at the taxpayer expense. I'm talking about actual jobs, right? So his policies were getting rid of the red tape, getting rid of all the bureaucratic bullshit process that was in place, preventing and stymieing businesses and corporations and private small mom and pop shops, right? So he got rid of a lot of that shit to allow businesses to grow, to expand, and that kind of stuff. So that's what Trump did. So I'll give kudos to Trump. I gave kudos to Trump during that time frame. So then, during the course of the Mueller thing, you had all these leaks coming out. You had BuzzFeed doing their thing. You had the New York Times doing their thing. The Washington Post was involved with all this bullshit. This is even after the Russiagate thing got found to be complete, utter bullshit. So during Mueller's investigation, I'm looking at this going, you got to be fucking kidding me. This won't stop. This won't end. Meanwhile, our economy is booming and growing and growing. Well, after Mueller, you had the IG Horowitz thing come out, which, cleared Trump from everything. Again, so this is, Democrats are 0-3 trying to railroad the president. And I'm like looking at this going, okay, I have to defend Trump because what they're doing is wrong. So the Democrats and the left and their media sycophants put me in a position as a never Trumper, someone who railed against Trump, who lost friends because of that, because I wouldn't support Trump, never put anything pro-Trump on my timeline. I would defend him because he's being wrongfully accused of stuff, not because I'm a pro-Trump guy, right? But I never put anything out on my timeline or on any social media platform where I was pro-Trump. But here's the media forcing me to defend somebody I am ideologically opposed to, okay? So after IG, now we have the collusion bullshit with, the call between President Trump and the Ukrainian president. And I'm seeing, Colonel Vindman and all this bullshit. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. All of a sudden Vindman became, just because he wore the uniform, he's untouchable. But at the same time, you got Michael Flint, the shit going through with a 3-star general who never did anything wrong, who was framed, which has obviously come out now. That was a bunch of bullshit. It's all come out that this is all, the whole Russiagate thing was a predicate instituted and created by Hillary Clinton in collusion with the DNC to hide her malfeasance in the emails that were missing, right? So this was all a distraction by our own elected officials to smear the name of Trump. Like Trump, hate Trump, think he's a bloviating, braggadocious piece of shit, whatever. The man, there was no right. Nobody had the right to do what they did to this man, regardless of your political affiliations or not. They used the power and weight of the federal government to try and smear the name of a good man simply to protect their own asses because they were out, their asses were hanging on the line. This has all come out now. If you're not up to speed and you think I'm full of shit, well, pull your fucking head out of your ass, because what has come out is that the very predicate for the whole Russiagate thing, which started all this shit, was for Hillary to try to distract you and me from her malfeasance by highlighting Trump. The media sycophants jumped right in line like good little fucking lapdogs they are, and it's all you saw day after day, hour after hour, headline after headline was all Trump colluded, Trump's Putin stooge, and all this other crap. And now all of a sudden it comes out where it's all predicated because of what happened with Hillary and her emails. So again, here I am as an ever Trumper going, this is fucking ridiculous. You have the media sycophants doing what they did. You have the DNC collusion. You have people within the DNC paying for the Steele dossier through Perkins Coie. And if you guys don't know anything about that, sorry, you need to catch up. You had all the lies being perpetrated by the media, which have been picked off and just steadily picked off. They're all fucking lying. And now, in just recently, you got Dementia Joe running with Kamala bending knee Harris for the Democratic presidential team. You got a dementia-ridden old man who doesn't even know what time of day it is, what day of the week it is, and where the hell he's at, running with a woman who slept her way to the top, who's lied continuously, who put men in jail. She hid evidence. It could have exonerated 2 guys after they got put on death row, and then she finally released the evidence after they were executed. That's who the Democrats put up. Here I am looking at this going, I'm a constitutionalist. I'm a hardcore conservative. I'm border and go into the libertarian world, and I've never voted, down ballot. I've never been that guy. I vote by the person and I vote by the issue. So now I'm looking at this going, you have the entire Democratic machine, the Democratic Party machine, that did everything they could to smear somebody who did nothing wrong. You may hate the man personally. You may think he's a blowhard or whatever, but everything he's been accused of with regards to Russia, collusion, excuse me, and all that stuff, it's all been proven to be a lie. And that's who the Democrats are putting up. Is dementia-riddled old man, and his running mate's a freaking political hookers, if you really want to get into it. But anyway, so then you got the whole impeachment thing that happened. And Mike, oh my God, they have totally, completely wrecked the complete institution of our government. They just destroyed it by using a mechanism built into our Constitution that's a safeguard. That mechanism is put in place to remove a president who has committed high crimes, misdemeanors. There was not one high crime, not one misdemeanor. Even the charges that were pushed forward for the impeachment, none of them meet the criteria of high crime, misdemeanor. That's one of the reasons why the Senate just completely rejected the whole thing. They exonerated him. You can sit there and say he was impeached by the House, but it wasn't just that the Senate voted and they had a majority, so he didn't. No, they exonerated him. There was not a high crime or misdemeanor charge that met the constitutional criteria that the Democrats had levied against him. But here we are with the Democrats using a safeguard mechanism that's put in place to remove a president who's not doing his job, that's committing high crimes, misdemeanors, treason, etc. So they make up these fake charges, knowing that they're fake, knowing that they're all created to protect Hillary, and they use that to try to oust the president who has done nothing wrong. That is an affront to you and me. That is an affront to our system of governance. That's an affront to everybody that has ever been a United States citizen, currently a United States citizen, and will be United States citizens. It's a complete, utter catastrophe, failure, whatever you want to say, that the Democrats have done to our system of governance. So now we're coming up into the 2020 election, or within a month now of the election day voting, and now we got Nancy Pelosi gonna put a commission together, trot out the 25th Amendment to try to impeach or remove President Trump again. So the walkaway movement that almost everybody's familiar with are Democrats that have walked away from their party. Okay. So because of the actions of the Democratic Party and all the other people involved in that process, to include the media, you have a large number of people that are leaving your party. I am an example of what you're also doing. There is a large portion of our population that are never Trumpers and are still never Trumpers. You are now pushing them away from your party to go vote and pull the lever for Trump. Right now, as I see it, I have no choice but to vote not only for President Trump, but to vote down ballot everything Republican, every measure, every item that is on a ballot. If it's got a R to it, I have to vote for it because of what you and your party have done to our country, to our system of governance, to politics in general. You're a stain, and you will be considered a stain throughout history for what you have done. This isn't about Orange Man bad. Right? I was never that person. I was never an Orange Man bad person. I didn't like the guy. I didn't like his policies when he first ran, or what I knew about him when he first ran. I support his policies that have of getting rid of the bureaucratic red tape that have allowed our economy to grow. He's pulled the government back from the economy, letting it be more of an actual free market, which has proven to work. You got all the media lies about his health care and all this other crap. That whole system, media, Hollywood, Democrats, liberal, progressives, people like AOC and the squad in DC, you are nothing but a stain in the history of not just this country, but of this planet. You have used the weight and power of the federal government illicitly and illegally to smear the name of a person who did nothing wrong, that you knew did nothing wrong. And you're still defending it. You're still lying about it. You have your media sycophants lying for you and covering your ass. They have done it for the last 4 fucking years. So you wonder why people like me are walking away. People from your party are walking away. You and your party are pushing people away. You have drifted so far left. You have tied yourself to the ship of socialism and the people like AOC that have 4 million Twitter followers or whatever, right? You have tied yourself to that sinking ship. My prediction is Trump, I'm hoping he wins in an absolute record-breaking landslide. I would give my left big toe if he were to literally win every district and win every electoral vote in this country. The reason why is that will wake you up, and the people that have been their mind controlled by the Democratic Party to what the fuck just happened. I hope to God he does it. I don't want anything close because the shenanigans the left's doing with the mail-in ballot or the mail-in ballots and all the other crap they're doing. They got a team of 600 lawyers ready to litigate if any of these precincts or districts are close, just to try to force this again. They're trying to use another safeguard built into our Constitution to protect the validity of the voting process. They're going to try to force the decision of who is president to the fucking House. They talk about the whole, every vote count and let's hear the voice of the people. So if the voice of the people is Trump, they're going to fight it and try to take it to the House of Representatives to try to steal the election away from you and me. This is what the Democratic Party is doing. It is a matter of fact. It's out there. I'm not just spitting off shit that I'm making up and pulling out of my own ass. This is stuff that's already out there in the public sphere. If Trump doesn't win in a landslide, if anything is close, there's going to be lawyers filing suit to do everything they can to delay the election. They are using another safeguard built into our Constitution illicitly, and I'm saying illegally. They're not there to protect the fucking vote. They're there to protect their people. They want their people in power. They want Trump gone. Not just because he's Trump, not because he's a bad guy or whatever. They want him out so they can put their person in. Which isn't Biden, by the way. Not by a long shot. So I say all this to say I'm walking away from being a never Trumper. As odd or as painful as that is what the left has forced me to do. I hope you other never Trumpers see this, hear this, and wake up to what's going on. You can still hate Trump. I'm not a big fan of his. I probably never will be. But I can no longer make any sense of voting for anything leftist, Democrat, whatever. I've always had huge respect for Democrats. I've never had respect for liberals and progressives. It's your platform. You Democrats, you real honest Democrats, have allowed your party to be taken over by fucking radical terrorists. Sorry if you don't like the word, but that's exactly what they are. They have done and proven and shown they are willing to do anything to undermine the sanctity of our government, our Constitution, your vote, my vote. So I am walking away from the Never Trump crowd. I hope you follow me. And that, good night, Gracie.